looking at Cameron's composition folder here, and I just want to dive right in and discuss how well the photographer took the instructions and the requirements of this project. And I think that Cameron did an excellent job in this project. The requirements were definitely understood, and we can see that through the photos. Just from a quick overview, I can tell that they gave a lot of thought to the work and that they clearly understood the elements and principles of design. And as we can see, a lot of the elements and principles of design are already starting to come through just looking at the thumbnails here. And so with that, I want to talk about how effectively they were used, and I think they were very effectively used here. Especially, we have a lot of emphasis on line and color in the pieces here. As we can see, like this image, we have a lot of line shown in the pattern that this shade creates on this piece of fabric. Again, line in this plant, which the leaves draws to the center. Even in this window scene here, where we see these vertical and horizontal lines in this window. And then, I guess even you could say, more of the focus, we see diagonal lines here in the background of this window, of this, gallery or shop. So from there, I want to talk about color. Color was also excellently used in these pieces. We see a great balance between lights and dark colors, great contrast, in the nature photos. Greens stand out, yellows stand out, blues stand out. Any color that represents a part of the piece really just comes through in the photo. So emphasis also, as I just mentioned, was excellently used. Emphasis here seems to be on line and color primarily, a little bit on lighting. More than a little bit. I do see a lot of lighting effects being used, whether it be here, these reflections that show through, or even in this cat with the values shown in the fur. And then finally, we have balance. There was a strong sense of balance and harmony just in all of these photos. Any photo that you click on within this portfolio has a flow and a very, very pleasing look. There's not really anything that's overly distracting from the focal points, as we can see in many of these examples in which I'm showing you. So the strongest images I feel that were in this portfolio were number 1065. This illuminated porch here. We can see again balance in this piece. We have this great contrast being balanced by the warm lighting on the street and these cool colors here in the background that keep the porch from standing out too much against this dark background here. Image 1060, in which, I just lost it. We have this gorgeous sunset street view, and we see every color just feels like it fits. Everything in this photo just feels so organic, from these pastel colors that stand out against this contrasted dark background and foreground, to the lighting used here, in which we see warm light coming through, whether it's from the implied light of this sunset to these warm street lights to even the warm neon signs here. Ooh. Finally, we have image 1039, this gorgeous photo of a cat, in which we see that great balance comes through again, as we have this pop of blue here to break up the monotone gray beige color scheme going on, even with the focal cat here. We also see value being shown off in this photo, as I mentioned earlier, in this fur. Once again, these stripes, as they go from the shadowed part to the light, the black stripes become brown, brown fur becomes white. But we also see a depth of field. Great demonstration of depth of field. So, as we can see, the foreground and semi-middle ground are very clear, as we have the focal of the cat and the space surrounding it. But as we go towards the back of the photo, it does become blurred and keeps the items in the background from distracting and taking away from the cat, which is the center of the photo here. Now, out of all of these photos, this was the only one that I saw really needed any improvement, and it's still a great photo. There are just a few little minor details that I would like to see touched up in it. So, looking at the picture, it kind of feels dull. I would have liked to see more saturation and play with the hues and tints of these colors in the sky. Contrast in the back and foreground, again with these trees. If you could have just silhouetted them a little more, I feel like it would have added more depth to the photo. But what I really have a problem with in this photo are these street lights here and here. This red color grabs the attention very easily and distracts us from the central focus of the photo right in here. Instead, whenever you click on this photo, or at least I was very drawn to these red lights. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, I think, once again, very, very successful use of elements of design, very successful composition of photos overall. I don't really think, other than what I just mentioned with that singular photo, there were really anything to improve. Maybe just touch up on touch up color saturations. Don't be afraid to play with, hues and altering the color schemes of photos. And that's it. You're doing great, Cameron. Just keep it up.